Hello there and welcome to Red Rocket Art Studio, and today we are gonna look how to make this realistic and cool wall that would perfectly fit into any of your dioramas. That's gonna be a complete step-by-step and end-to-end guide covering all the materials, all the paints and techniques I used. That way, actually you can easily recreate it at home and impress all your friends. Also on my channel you can find other complete and free guides on how to make that functional terminal, wall lamps, realistic floor and other cool stuff. Make sure that you're subscribed not to miss it. Ready? Let's go! So, originally I started with the cutting proper piece of the foam. I used XPS 20mm foam for my work and I cut the piece approximately fitting my floor size, like that. And then I attached the further elements of the scene like the wall pillar and the wall lamp to approximately know where they will go in the final scene. Then I mapped the pieces of the wall with collapsed plaster, like that, and I start mapping all the bricks using the selected scale. In my case it was 1:11. I simply drawing them for entire surface of the foam. Then, using the modeling knife, I just cutting the bricks following that mapping of the bricks we made on the previous stage. That should not be too deep. I approximately cut them in the depth for approximately 1-2 millimeters, probably a little bit more. It doesn't matter actually. Then, using the same structure, I'm using the pencil and I draw over all those cuts we made on the previous stage with a knife and I widening them. And ideally you should use the pencil which have been bitten by your children or at least by a dog for the ideal and for the best results. Next we need to separate the bricks areas from the wall areas where the plaster remains, and I'm using again the knife to cut that separation line. And then I'm using that wonderful lava stone to push the section of the wall with the bricks deeper, making a difference in their height, and that's creating the beautiful relief. Definitely you can use any stones with the good texture and that would work best for you, but the lava stones work the best. Also I'm using the ball made of aluminum foil and I'm just rolling them on the surface of bricks again to create the relief on the bricks. In the end of this stage you should have that beautiful texture and those bricks with the different height of the bricks themselves, with the relief and with the different height of the plaster. Next I make the surface more interesting by creating eye-catching areas. So I press some section of the bricks deeper, I remove some bricks entirely, creating the cracks and doing stuff like that. Some of the bricks, especially at the top of the wall, I trying to pull out as if they are about to fall off, and it's also creating the interesting effect. Then I make a texture on the plaster side. And that's what I get in the end of that stage, and now the surface looks much more interesting. And that's how that looks like in the scene. And then primering. Actually I'm using my very favorite primer, acrylic gesso, and then I'm making the pretty watery mix of the black and white colors to have in the end pretty dark gray color. When mix is ready, simply covering the entire surface by the primer, nothing specific here. Then making a base color. I used terracotta color as the main one and I added there heavy ochre as the color accent. A bit later I also added the orange fire color as another color variation. That it shall not be completely flat, you should place a little bit more terracotta, other pieces you should color more with the ochre color, and then make some other places a little bit more orangey than other. So use the color variation all over the wall surface. And same I'm doing with the other side of the wall. That's how that looks like after drying. As you can see, I didn't feed the color of the original wall, and that's a little bit more orangey than the first part. To fix that, I'm making filter. I'm mixing the scarlet red together with the smoke ink and adding a lot of water and glaze medium. And that's supposed to be very watery, and applying that mixture for the entire surface of the wall. After drying, it looks like that, and the next stage is the dry brushing. Terracotta ton used for the first layer of the dry brushing, and then I would apply other colors lighter than used on the previous stage. The idea that every step of the dry brushing should be lighter and lighter. Thus on the next stage I am applying the desert yellow with the ton, which is lighter on the previous one, but I applying that on the smaller area in compared to the previous stage, like that. And finally I am applying the bone white, but very selective, highlighting some of the edges of our bricks. And that is the look of our wall at this stage. And as you can see now, tone is pretty fitting with the previous part. So we can go further. And the next step is to make some color variations of the individual bricks. I've prepared a variety of colors for glazing. That's gonna be smoke ink, red scarlet, burnt umber, tan, and heavy ochre. Then I simply mix them in the various proportion using the glaze medium and mix of the water to the pretty watery and transparent mix color there. And I apply them here and there, making the color variation through the entire surface of the wall. Despite the fact that I'm using many colors there are three main color accents are used here in the scene. That's yellow ochre color, then the darkish red color, and umber brown tone. Doing the same with the other side of the wall. And in the end of this process you should have something like that. And honestly speaking, that's already pretty good bricks and you can use that as the final product. But we will go further and we will make the real cement grout. Before the start of this stage, please make sure your girlfriend or your wife is not home, this is really important, and prepare the wood glue, the quick cement, the sand, and any kind of the black color to make your grout a little bit darker. Then I move into the kitchen and pouring some of the quick cement, adding a little bit of the sand and the PVA or wood glue. After pouring some water, I'm mixing that well. It shall not be watery, it should be like peanut butter consistency. Then you can add more quick cement or sand to make it thicker. Then I adding a little bit black paint to color it in the darkish tone. And actually we are good to go. I'm using the very old and raw brush and I'm trying to rub the mixture into the seams as deep as I could. I'm not caring about the painted or not painted pieces of surfaces, applying that entirely. And then by the water on the top I urine the grout of the surface using a soft sponge. That's very important not to rub or press too hard, otherwise you risk scraping off the paint. just gently move the sponge over the surface, and that's it. Then let it dry for around 10-15 minutes, that looks like that, and using some kind of pick, just remove excess material from the areas where it should not be. For example, from places where we remove some bricks, from some of the recesses we made, or from the areas where you want to kind of simulate crumbling grout, like here. After applying of that stage, now bricks looks like that, more natural but much less bright than it were before. And actually now it's a time to paint the concrete side, actually where we have the remains of the plaster. And I'm applying the base color and the mixture of any grey, like the Panzer dark grey or the dark sea grey with a drop of khaki to move it to the warmer tone. And then simply covering the entire surface of the concrete part of our wall. Then adding the mix of cayman green and the black color in the bottom part of the wall where the moisture is collected and some moss and that stuff is there. After drying, that looks like that, and I'm proceeding with the next stage, the dry brushing. And I'm using the mixture of my base color, Panzer dark grey, mixed with the khaki tone. I'm applying this mix for the entire concrete side of the wall by the dry brush technique. Completion of that stage giving us that outlook of the wall. Then I'm emulating moss, and I'm using the goblin green color mixed with the sun yellow to have that warm green tone, and I'm applying that paint to the logical places, actually where moss could be, like the connection with the concrete and the brick, the bottom part of the wall, and so on. Then I'm added bone white to my mixture, and I'm emulating kind of the highlights for some areas with the efflorescence, this kind of a white spots formed by salt on the bricks. And again applying them pretty logically close to the moss pieces. Finally, I'm applying dark brown wash. Not entirely, but on some parts of the wall closer to the bottom part. That's an update after the latest operation, and looks pretty okay and fit into the outer part. So next we need to glue it to the floor side. I'm using regular PVA glue to glue them together. Completely same way I am applying the wall pillar. And the wall lamp. Then final touches. Actually I'm using completely same colors as I used before, and I'm just reinforcing the same effects I applied before. This darkening part in the bottom, using the dark sea grey there, and with some water I'm just smoothing the edges. Same I'm doing with the moss. And then efflorescence, highlighting and enforcing that pretty significantly. Even more highlighted by the brighter greenish yellow tone. Then I'm using the leftovers after our concrete grout we made to fill the gap between the floor and the wall. I'm using the different sizes of the stone from the large to the small, and I'm using a mix of the PVA glue with the water to fix it on their places. Last step, I'm applying some smoky ink together with the glazed medium and the thinner to make the shadow around the wall lamp. Then we're making cables. I'm using the real cable, thus all those cables will be working and this wall lamp is functional as well. And the mix of the black and dark green, I'm creating the kind of the old rubber color. And then I'm coloring the cables and letting them dry. I'm mounting the pre-printed and painting wire staples by the super glue, like that. Then for some reason I decided to make those two parts of the diorama detachable, and that added me a lot of work. I mounted magnets in the floor and the wall, that was okay, but the wiring issue was not so easy to solve. And so I installed a super small 3-wire connector, which was enough to supply power and control to the wall lamp. Here the process. So then I connected Arduino Nano to tell that it's working, and to my huge surprise that we're actually working, almost from the first attempt. I glued that connector to the wall, like that, and I'm proceeding with the counterpart of that connector on the new wall. Pretty simple soldering work, nothing specific. Then cable management. I laid all the wires beautifully and naturally by the super glue, just as it would hang in the real room. And again I'm using wire staples where they are needed. So cable management is done now. Then I'm restoring the dark green color in the cables where it was damaged during the cable management. And then really small details, I applying the lichen pieces on the wires to imitate it. It's really realistically. Imitation of bare wire oxides making now. And the very last step imitating dust, dirt and the rust by the dry pigments. I've used city door pigment and the truck rust pigment mainly by the AK. And we are done with that part, and here what the wall looks like in its final version. I want to remind you that I have a separate videos on my channel how to make a similar wall lamps and how to make that fully functional working terminal like I have it here, as well as making floor with the 3D printed industrial tiles and how to make all those weathering of the pieces I have in that scene. So, thank you for watching, stay tuned and goodbye.